So this album was requested on my Black Veil Bride's Restitch These Wounds album review. So the commenter doesn't want to be named, which is fine because I don't know what the hell it is. He commented a while ago. I didn't really know if I was going to do this or not, honestly. But he said, I don't like this album, referring to the Black Veil Brides thing. And then he said, could you review One Desire, Midnight Empire, which is what you're seeing here. So clearly I'm doing it, because here it is. But I never heard of the band previously. The guy mentioned it. I had heard them before. Like, I listened to the track Shadow Man, which is what's playing at the minute. As well as things like After You're Gone and everything, because they're actual music video singles, which is what I listened to. And heard it, thought it's fine, didn't really do much else with it. So obviously I came back to it, I sat down, I listened through it. I've listened through it a few times, which is why it's quite late, because I wanted to really know what I thought about it. As well as the fact that this guy in particular said to review this. So the reason he did so, I never asked, but it's probably because he actually really likes this album. He thinks it's fantastic. And I don't think it is a great album nor fantastic. So I was wondering, should I bother then, because it's not going to be what this guy even wants to hear who asked me to review this. He probably wants me to give it praise. But the thing is, should I just ignore him and not take requests and just do what I like? He's not a subscriber of mine, at least I don't think he is. But I would like to kind of show that I with my comment section, I actually do talk back, and I will take requests if I feel like I want to do an album. If something's really, really dreadful, then maybe I wouldn't put myself through it, but this is okay. But then the other thought of, I'm obviously not going to think it's as good as him. One of the reasons I started doing this is because watching reaction channels when they react to music, and they just headbang, and it's like, oh, this one makes you headbang, and then it's videos where it's like try not to headbang, and they listen to music, and it's like, God, I really want to headbang, I don't know if I can do it, and then you get to the end, it's like, oh, I'm dripping with sweat. It's like, I like metal, but when I listen to music, I'm not headbanging all the time. It's easy to listen to an album and never headbang, so these people are fake, they're phonies, and they keep saying how everything is the greatest thing they ever heard, no matter what the hell it is, even if it's something abysmal that has been panned by critics, as well as even audiences. They just like everything, so it's like they're fake. You can't trust their opinion because clearly they're not being honest, so how can you trust these people? And I find it with reviewers as well. Reviewers will constantly keep saying it's the best album, or they just will constantly just be fake because they never seem to be critical. They're always just about the positives. So this is the reason why I started. So I don't want to lie. This guy obviously likes this album. He wanted me to review it. He wants me to praise this. But I don't want to lie. I don't want to be fake. So I'm going to be brutally honest here. I'm not going to be a dick about it. I'm just going to be honest. So One Desire, Midnight Empire. I forgot where this band is from, but they haven't done too many albums. They're actually quite new. I think their first album came out in something like 2013, actually. So not many albums. It could be like their second or third, really. And the way they explain themselves is melodic rock thing. So it's not really a metal album. That's where I'm kind of focused. I more listen to metal. So yeah, this is just rock, not my kind of usual area. It's melodic, I like melody, so it's got that going for me. So yeah, melodic rock. Not my area, I'm more metal, but I don't, say it's not metal, therefore something sucks. I'm not like that. So listening through the album, what do you get? You get some really good vocals, you get some good guitar solos. Some of them are better than others. Some solos are a bit too short. Some solos repeat a certain pattern, and then some solos have a good length to it and are really melodic and emotionally driven. You can feel it, and that's really good. It's got some blues influences in certain aspects of songs, which I really appreciate. Not always throwing a lead in just where the solo is, but having these little blues leads just sprinkled throughout a song, just to give a song even more like weight and heighten it a bit more. I really like that stuff. So yeah, you got strong vocals, some pretty good solos, mediocre to pretty good to pretty damn great. You got some great blues stuff. The album is really catchy. The album's not too long. It's in the 40 minutes, I believe. But my problem is basically these people's influence. So the band say that they're influenced a lot from like 80s bands, like Journey being one of them. So heavy influence of 80s, blues being one of them. Not blues, Journey being one of them. But they do also explain themselves as having a modern twist. Now, I say they're completely wrong on this. Like, I don't think this band has a modern twist where it's like, we're inspired by the 80s, but this is like melodic rock in 2020. This is the evolution of it. It isn't. It really isn't. This entire album just screams 80s. There is nothing new about this. There is nothing inventive about this. There's nothing different, diverse. There is nothing new about this. If you grew up through the 80s listening to metal, rock, melodic rock and things, all through the 80s, all them bands that came out, and then you went into the 90s and you kept listening to bands that were inspired by them bands. Then the early 2000s, listening to bands that were inspired by them 80s bands. Then you hit 2010 and then you go through the teens years. And then you get to 2020 and you've still been listening to all them bands inspired by the 80s as well as all of them 80s bands. Why would this album stand out? Simple answer, it won't. It's not doing anything new. It is fatiguing. It is dull. It's boring. You have heard it before. There are billions of bands out there who have done this thing. It is a complete replica of Journey. This is heavily influenced by Journey. I really like Journey. I think Journey's a fantastic band, but it's like, if I want to hear something that's like Journey, I'd listen to Journey. And if I want to hear something from the 80s, I'd listen to an 80s band. I've heard modern bands do it, but I've been hearing that for years. I don't really want to hear this anymore. Why should I listen to this album? What is appealing about it? The fact that it's a band that has been out since the 80s. Well, that's not something new and diverse to really make me listen. So what is this band's standout? What is their signature thing? They sound like the 80s. Well, that was years ago. We're past that now. It sounds like Journey, a band of the 80s. Well, that band exists. You can go listen to them. There's also a lot of other bands who were inspired by Journey and the 80s. So what makes this band unique again? Nothing. They say they have a modern twist. As far as I will take that on by is the fact that this has the 2020 production. This album came out in 2020, so the production is of a very high standard. Unlike bands from the 80s, production isn't really that good. There is a really rustic sound to them albums of the 80s. This is very, very clean. But that's just production. This isn't basically, oh, it's got a modern twist to it. The band didn't do anything modern. They haven't done a thing. It's basically just the production makes everything cleaner and tighter. That's not the band just doing 80s but a modern twist. This is the 80s melodic rock in the 2020s. It just isn't. And bands like Unleash the Archers take 80s style power metal, and they have now brought it into the 2020 and have evolved from that. It is 80s roots that's then grown further throughout all the years, and they've made something with their new album, something completely different and unique. It's evolution. This band doesn't do any of that. It is pure journey and 80s. There is nothing unique about this album in the slightest. So it sounds like I kind of hate this album because it's just like I've heard it before, so why the hell should I bother? As I said, even though I've heard it before, it doesn't take away the fact that the songs are catchy. Like, just because I've heard it before doesn't mean, well, everything therefore just automatically sucks. That would be childish of me to say, so I'm not going to. The fact is, this vocalist is very good. He still sounds very 80s styles. They got a vocalist that just sounds like an 80s style vocalist. But even still, nevertheless, his voice is very good. He has a great voice. The guitar work, as I said, is great. The solos are pretty good. Shadow Man is got a really, really good solo. Unfortunately, the solo actually is basically just a lead version of the rhythm of the song, which is a little unimaginative. But he has leads throughout the song. The song ends on a very kind of blues-inspired pattern, and that goes into a lot of other tracks. There is so much blues influence, which I like, and it heightens it. The songs are all catchy, so you can enjoy it. The tracks are simple, they're melodic, and they're catchy, with some good musicianship and some good vocal work. So I can listen to the album, and I can tap along, I can enjoy it. It's got great beat, it's catchy, I can easily sing along to it. It's just basically, there is nothing new for me, nothing creative. So it's like, this is fun, it's catchy, but I'm not blown away, because there's nothing to blow me away. There's nothing at all. If you want to know the best tracks on this, then Shadow Man is definitely one of the good ones. Down and Dirty, I really, really, really like. God Sent Ecstasy, I really like. And Through the Fire, I also really like. Talking about that last track, Through the Fire, this is actually sung by the lead guitarist. I like this because obviously it just changes things up a bit. So instead of just having the same singer, it's a whole different voice, it's a different kind of sound. It's a bit warmer than the main vocalist, it's more of a warm tone. And it just adds a whole new flavour, so it just adds a new dimension to the album, just making it creatively kind of different. And not just being overly repetitive. So I do really like that it really kind of just changes things up a bit from the monotony that does flow somewhat through the album, because all the tracks do have the similar pattern of you got your intros and then your verse and the chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, solo kind of section, finish on the chorus. All songs go like that, simple, paint by numbers how you structure a song. Most of the verses are usually always melodic based, and then the chorus goes into some kind of big catchy arena style chorus. So everything is quite repetitive and predictable. But as I said, it's just catchy stuff. And Down and Dirty, the verse of that, just the vocal melodies, just really, really good. Through the Fire, I just really like that track just because it's a different vocalist, so it gives it a whole different feel to all of the album. And God Sent Ecstasy, again, just a song which is really, really catchy. I like the vocal melodies and just the melody of the whole album. But when you get to Through Fire, then you get into Heroes, Rio, Battlefield of Love, Killer Queen, Only When I Breathe. You do really get fatigued. It's just like, this is quite predictable, this is very repetitive, and I've heard it before, which makes it that much worse. Also, some lyric stuff, incredibly cheesy, like After You're Gone, it's the songs that have been done to death of love songs that someone's left you and you're emotionally sad because you've lost your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whoever. It's just cringy at this point in time. It is the most basic song to do if you're doing something melodic. If we're doing a melodic song, what should it be about? Oh, I had a girlfriend who left me. It's just simple way out. It is so cringy, it's so lazy, and I absolutely despise it. It's actually one of the singles after You're Gone, and I hate that track. I think it's one of the worst. Battlefield of Love and Killer Queen, it's just quite cringy stuff. Just the typical love songs. I despise it. It is so bland. So lyrically, there's a lot of cringe. It's quite bland. Has this band got an identity of itself? Hell no, it really, really doesn't. Is there going to be anything new here, anything to blow you away? No. But if you, for some reason, still haven't had enough of the sound of the Journey and the sound of the 80s, and you want a good voice that has that Journey 80s vibe, and some good guitar work with some real nice blues influence, which I really, really appreciate from a personal standpoint. I really like some bluesy influence, and just some catchy, simple songs that just doesn't take a lot of energy to really deconstruct. You can sit back and you can just enjoy. Then this album is perfectly fine for you. There is nothing wrong with it. And as I say, there's nothing overly wrong. The band's good, they're talented, good vocalist, catchy songs. So there is nothing fundamentally wrong. It's just the problem of it's not unique. There is nothing new. This sound has been going since the 80s. There is all the bands in the 80s, all the bands since then. It is done. Let's move on from this instead of constantly just rehashing that. Because creatively, you can't do anything else besides copy and clone what a band's done previously. You can't just say, oh, we're a great band and we're heavily influenced, we're going to do something unique. No, you're just copying them. You're taking credit for something that really another band has made. I don't really personally think that's fair, to be honest, to take liberty from what someone else has created. I don't think that's fair. I think you should be inspired by these guys, there's nothing wrong with that, and then do something with that inspiration. Build something of your own. That is what music should be, inspiration from what has come before, the legends, and build from it. Try and top that. This is just more of the same. It's just very unfortunate. So, I've hated on this album, but I'm not going to score on it. It's basically 7.5. It's not an average album because of the good vocals, the catchy songs, and the good guitar work. It is a good album. It's a very good album, really, because they do it very, very well. But it's not great because it isn't, because there's nothing great about it. It's just a strong album. There's nothing amazing about it, there's nothing unique. And if the band never changes up or does something different and new, it's always going to be just a solid album. So 7.5, and if they don't change, it's a band that is going to be consistently a 7.5. Hopefully eventually they do something new and grow. I somewhat doubt it, personally, but never know. Could surprise me. But that's it from me. I think I've been perfectly fair, I've been honest. If you don't agree, you can't say I'm an idiot and I'm wrong. It's an honest assessment. I think I was very truthful in what I had to say, and I think I was very fair. And a 7.5 isn't a bad score, and I said it is a solid album. It is. It's perfectly fine. It's just, I've heard it before, so it's not for me. I wouldn't be listening to it. But for people who still appreciate the stuff and can still put up with it, I don't know how you can, if you can, this is really damn good. And you should go out and get it. You should listen to it, because you will really love it. But for those who are fed up and want something new, you have to avoid this band because there isn't anything. So that's completely fair, I think. So if you're upset by it, then I'm sorry, but I don't know what else I could have been. This is honest. So thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one.